welcome to the Bare Metal Cyber CISSP Prepcast. This series helps you prepare for the IC Squared CISSP exam with focused explanations and practical context. In this episode, we are diving into data retention and archival strategies. These practices are critical components of cybersecurity governance and information lifecycle management. Every organization generates vast amounts of data, but not all data should be stored indefinitely. Data retention policies ensure information is preserved for the appropriate duration to meet legal, regulatory, business, and operational requirements. Archival strategies help store data securely over the long term without cluttering operational systems. An effective data retention and archival program supports compliance, improves operational efficiency, and reduces the risk of data breaches or regulatory violations. As a future certified information systems security professional, your role will include helping define, implement, and continuously manage these strategies across your organization. Let us begin by understanding data retention requirements. Data retention refers to the practice of keeping data stored for a defined period of time. These timeframes are determined by a combination of regulatory obligations, legal risks, contractual commitments, and operational needs. Many regulations specify exactly how long different types of records must be retained. For example, the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, requires that personal data be retained no longer than necessary for the purposes for which it was collected. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, or HIPAA, requires healthcare providers to retain patient records for at least 6 years. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act, or SOX, mandates retention of audit records and financial documents for a minimum of 7 years. In addition to legal obligations, some data must be kept for litigation readiness, internal investigation, or historical reporting. At the same time, keeping data too long increases risk and cost. Data that is no longer needed becomes a liability. It takes up storage space, requires maintenance, and can be subject to breach or misuse. That is why effective retention policies are essential. Retention policies define what data must be kept, for how long, and under what conditions. These policies should be documented clearly and aligned with regulatory requirements, business goals, and industry standards. Retention schedules outline specific durations for each category of data and specify responsibilities for managing and disposing of data when the time comes. Policies must be reviewed regularly to stay current with changes in law, business operations, and technology. Failing to update policies can lead to accidental data loss or unintended non-compliance. A retention policy is only effective if it reflects your current environment and is enforced consistently across systems and departments. Let us now look at data archival strategies. Data archival is the process of moving data that is no longer actively used to a secure long-term storage system. While retained data may still be accessed occasionally, archived data is not used on a day-to-day basis. However, it must still be protected and retrievable for regulatory, compliance, legal, or historical reasons. Archiving helps reduce the burden on production systems, improve system performance, and lower storage costs. It also separates active data from inactive data, helping ensure that access, backup, and disaster recovery processes are focused on what matters most. Archival storage solutions may include offline backups, cloud storage platforms, encrypted tape libraries, or secure on-premises repositories. Regardless of the method used, archived data must be protected using strong encryption, physical and logical access controls, and regular integrity checks. Just because the data is not used daily does not mean it can be forgotten. Attackers often target archived data because it is less monitored and may contain valuable historical information. Clear archival policies and procedures define when data should be archived, how it should be stored, who can access it, and how it can be restored when needed. These procedures should also address backup redundancy, disaster recovery access, and long-term preservation formats, especially for data that may need to be retained for 10 or more years. Let us now focus on implementing effective data retention policies. The first step is to define a retention schedule. This schedule outlines which categories of data the organization collects and specifies how long each type should be retained. These schedules are created through collaboration between legal, compliance, cybersecurity, operations, and business units. Retention schedules should include specific timeframes for regulatory data, contractual data, business records, financial data, human resources files, and customer information. For each category, the policy should state the retention period, the rationale behind it, and the person or team responsible for enforcement. Automated tools can help manage retention timelines. These tools track when data was created or last modified, apply policy rules, and flag records that are approaching the end of their retention period. Some tools can trigger alerts, initiate approval workflows, or execute secure deletion or archival automatically. Training is essential for ensuring policy adherence. Employees need to know what data they are responsible for, how long it should be kept, and how to dispose of it when required. Training should also include how to recognize legally significant data that may be subject to legal holds or preservation orders. Audits and assessments confirm whether policies are being followed. These reviews help identify data that is being retained unnecessarily, data that has not been labeled correctly, or records that were deleted too soon. Audit results can guide adjustments to tools, training, or policy language. For more cyber-related content and books, please visit cyberauthor.me. You'll find bestseller books, training tools, and resources tailored specifically for cybersecurity professionals. Also, explore additional resources and podcast episodes at baremetalcyber.com. Now let us focus on secure disposal of expired data. When data reaches the end of its retention period, it must be securely destroyed. Disposal is not just a technical task. It is a regulated process that must be documented and executed with precision. Secure disposal techniques vary based on the type of data and the storage medium. For electronic data, secure deletion tools can overwrite storage sectors, making recovery impossible. Disk wiping utilities and cryptographic erasure tools ensure that deleted data cannot be reconstructed. For physical media like hard drives, tapes, or optical disks, destruction may include shredding, degaussing, or incineration. For paper records, shredding or incineration are common and acceptable methods. Whichever method is chosen, organizations must follow consistent procedures, document disposal activities, and ensure compliance with both internal policies and external regulatory requirements. Documentation may include disposal logs, certificates of destruction, or audit records. These records help demonstrate that the organization has met its obligations and followed best practices. Disposal activities should also be regularly audited to verify compliance and effectiveness. Failure to dispose of expired data securely can result in regulatory penalties, lawsuits, and reputational harm. Even if the data is old, its loss or exposure can still carry consequences, especially if it includes customer records, employee data, or intellectual property. Let us now turn to continuous management and improvement of data retention and archival strategies. These strategies are not one-time projects. They are living programs that require ongoing attention, updates, and refinements. Regular policy reviews help ensure that your retention schedules reflect the latest legal requirements, business practices, and risk conditions. Changes to privacy laws, industry standards, or operational tools may require updates to retention timelines or disposal procedures. Continuous training keeps employees engaged and informed. As new people join the organization, new systems are introduced, or data types evolve, training must reinforce expectations and equip staff with the knowledge they need to remain compliant. Incident reviews provide valuable feedback. If data is accidentally deleted, or found to be accessible long after it should have been destroyed, that incident should trigger a policy review. Lessons learned can lead to changes in tooling, approval workflows, or training content. Cross-functional collaboration supports success. Cybersecurity teams bring insight into threats. Legal teams track compliance requirements. Business units know what data matters most. By working together, teams can implement and manage retention and archival strategies that are efficient, secure, and sustainable. Automation can also support continuous improvement. As retention and archival tools evolve, they can offer better integration with classification engines, legal hold systems, and backup platforms. Improved analytics can help identify bottlenecks, detect policy violations, and predict future storage needs. In the end, robust data retention and archival strategies support security, compliance, and operational excellence. They ensure that your organization keeps what it must, discards what it should, and does both in a controlled, documented, and secure manner. Thank you for joining the CISSP Prepcast by Bare Metal Cyber. Visit baremetalcyber.com for additional episodes, comprehensive CISSP study materials, and personalized certification support. Deepen your understanding of data retention and archival strategies, and will consistently support your path towards CISSP certification success.